After years of protests and legal battles, fracking for shale gas has finally started this lunchtime in Lancashire. The first time it's been done in the UK since 2011. Well, today's development by the energy firm Quadrilla is a significant one, and it's one that many in Europe will be watching with interest. I'm joined now from the Preston New Road site by our environment correspondent, Judy Hobson. Judy, fill us in on what's been happening there today.
Well, about 20 minutes ago, Quadrilla confirmed it had started fracking here. Fracking is a noisy process. We can't hear anything from here at the moment. Now, as you can see, there's also a protest going on behind me. A campaigner is at the entrance. He's on top of a platform. He's been there all morning. The road has been closed. It's now reopened. And what protesters are saying, that they know they can't stop fracking. They're hoping to affect confidence, though, in investors in this industry. Well, my colleague Peter Marshall has been here with the protesters all morning.
Demonstrators were determined to disrupt the planned first frack in the UK since 2011. The group reclaimed the power, blockaded the Preston New Road site in the early hours.
Is it all just a bit too late now, do you think?
I don't think so. They haven't started yet, and every day that people are here showing their opposition and taking action to stop this happening, it's costing them money, and it's showing the investors and other fracking companies that this isn't an industry that can scale in the UK. There's simply too much resistance.
I thought he said he was fracking today.
Further along Preston New Road, more disruption. Two protesters attached to tyres through concrete. With fracking about to begin, can this sort of protest now make any difference?
Of course it can. We're still here, and we will continue to be here until they leave. We will be here and we will be stopping them.
Surely they've been through the democratic process, though. They've taken the proper routes to get this through.
The locals don't want fracking round here, you know. The locals didn't want fracking anywhere over here.
We said no! We said no!
A last-minute legal bid by campaigners to halt fracking here failed on Friday. Bad weather prevented fracking on Saturday, so the drilling company Quadrilla said they'd begin operations today.
We have high hopes for them, but we have to wait and see what comes out. But if successful, this will lead to tens of thousands of jobs and could be a very significant contributor to the exchequer.
The industry says fracking, when done properly, is safe and will help meet energy needs. Campaigners say it will harm the environment. They insist the battle against fracking is far from over. Peter Marshall, BBC North West Today.
Well, Judy, as we've heard, these campaigners have spent years trying to make sure we didn't get to this point. Now fracking started this lunchtime. What are their main concerns now?
Well, just to remind you what fracking is, a well has been drilled 2 kilometres below where I'm standing. It then extends for 800 metres, and water, sand and a chemical, polyacrylamide, is pumped at high pressure to frack the rock. That releases gas which comes back to the surface. Now, campaigners have always been concerned about earthquakes. Earth tremors were caused by this process 7 years ago. They're worried about the fracking fluid contaminating water supplies, and they're worried about air quality as the trucks going in and out of the site.
So how will safety be monitored there now?
Well, let's look at earthquakes. Quadrilla has its own seismic monitors deep below ground. The British Geological Survey is also monitoring any movement underground. The Environment Agency is testing air and water. I spoke to a professor at Newcastle University who is an expert in the safety of fracking, and this is what he had to say.
These well sites are, I think it is true to say, the most monitored wells ever drilled in the United Kingdom. Various things have been put in place to ensure that earthquakes don't happen, and if they do, they'll stop the fracking operation. There's always some risk. The key thing is to understand those risks and study them as much as possible and try and reduce them.
The British Geological Survey and the Environment Agency actually have a presence on site here too, but campaigners say they're still not convinced that this is safe.
What about the 10th site down the line, or the 20th site, or the 30th site? Are they going to be as meticulous in monitoring? And the agencies, you know, have they got the resources to oversee this and to monitor it? So no, I'm not convinced at all that they can keep it up.
So, Judy, a very significant day. Briefly, a lot of attention focused there.